Our guest joining us this morning, we have former president of GJA, Afel Moni, in studio with us. Good morning, sir.
Sweetie, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. We also have some guests joining us on Zoom. We have Dr. Kwame Asante. He's head for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, good morning. I don't know why I found your name
Sweetie,
there.
And good morning to my brother and friend, Mr. Moni. And then, of course, Ben, you are my man. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Doc.
It's good to have you.
Later on, we'll have another guest joining us in studio. We have Parkwesi Eduafo Abedu, development analyst, and he also joined us via Zoom. So now that we know who our guests are, let's get the conversation going, Ben.
Well, I couldn't help but notice that we're all in different shades of gray this morning. Dr. Asante, it appears the Zoom connection didn't work. He didn't get the memo, but I'm in charcoal gray, and I feel Money in a shade of gray. Sweetie Abachi, you're also in gray. It's a grayscale this morning. Anyway, let's take your quick thoughts. I think I'll start with Dr. Kwame Asante, who joins us via Zoom. What are your thoughts for us this morning, Doc?
Yeah, this morning, I want to look at the floods and the devastating effect of it in Accra and other places of the country. This problem has been perennial, and we always lament about it and do very little to address this problem, because I would have thought that for the pain, the trouble, and all that we go through relative to this problem, authorities would have put their foot down and ensure that this problem, if it is not kicked out, is minimized to lessen the pain of the ordinary man. But we are seeing a different story. Every time the problem keep on exacerbating, and it creates all manner of problems for us. Just a little drop of water from the skies, and we are in distress. We cannot continue to be like this. We have to act as a serious society which is always ready to deal with problems head on. And I have seen the problem from the perspective of poor planning, as if there are no planning officers in this country, which I know they are. So what is happening here? I can't get it. Now, people build anyhow, and you ask yourself, do we have planning authorities who draw salary from government payroll? Another problem I see is engineering problems. Sometimes you realize that there are bits and pieces of engineering problems that we are struggling to deal with. But why should it be when we have a whole team of engineers looking at this? And of course, lack of enforcement of the rules regarding sanitation and regarding the building of properties in this Accra, this city. It is a problem, because I can't understand why we cannot ensure that there is regulatory capacity of the state and it is being enforced. Rules are enforced to the letter. You see all these things happening, and the last problem I've seen with it is our attitude towards sanitation. How we flood the place with refuse and all that. Anytime it rains, you see them dumping refuse in drainage and the rest of them. We create problems, and at the end of the day, it comes to hunters. The last of it is political will. There are buildings that are standing in the way of water. There are buildings that are not supposed to be placed where they are. Instead of the authorities making sure that they go down, there is always lack of political will. We as a society must rise up and deal with these problems head on.
Interesting thoughts. I just want to add this for your brief reflection. You know, the AMA, the mayor of Accra, are trying to decongest the city as well in terms of moving traders from medians, road medians, from the shoulders of roads and all of that. What do you make of that drive?
It is a good call. It must be sustained, and then they do it. But my problem is that if you see, anytime a new government is in office, these are measures, one of the measures that they want to implement. Get into election, they allow people to sell anywhere, because when you touch them, you touch one vote and all that. We have to be consistent. and be firm with the rules. Laws are nothing but what the rules that regulate the conduct of society and make life better. It's a useful instrument to what guide society. So
Right.
if we make the laws and will not enforce them, we must as well not make them.
All right. Thank you for those thoughts. Afilmoni?
I would like to take a synoptic look at.
Synoptic, huh?
Yeah.
Not the Gospels, but
At the apology rendered by former Vice President.
oh, in London, in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK. Aliyu Muhammadu Bawumia.
Right.
It's an exercise in perfect timing. But for the apology to be effective, it must pass the test of sincerity. I'm inclined to believe that he's sincere about his apology. It must pass the test of specificity. Why are you apologizing? Apologizing for what? And he's come out to say sorry about some of the economic failures which inflicted hardships of gargantuan proportions on the Ghanaian. And the backlash was the massive vote against him and his party. The apology to also pass the test of responsibility. And again,
So did it pass the test of specificity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sincerity, check. Specificity, check.
Yeah, responsibility. He's taking responsibility for the loss of the party, which is very good. Empathy, he's put himself in the shoes of people who are mourning, who are grieving. And then the willingness to change. Change from the policy failures which ignited the biting bitter cost of living crisis, and which also saw the electoral outcome. And whilst at it, he should avoid comments and statements which will serve as a magnet for people to throw verbal stones at him.
Like what he's been saying now, that the city,
Yeah, exactly.
there's nothing this current administration is doing, and that it's all on the back.
I would have thought I could have waited for the dust to die, to settle before coming out with what he did. And he's a consummate intellectual, and intellectuals like debate, and debates are the lifeblood of deliberative democracy such as ours. But as much as possible, you should avoid igniting debate or joining debate which can be weaponized to rake up his deep wounds inflicted by the electoral outcome. So these are my thoughts for.
Those are some very interesting thoughts you just shared. What sincerity, specificity, responsibility, empathy, and the willingness to change. That's something interesting.
Talking about debates, yesterday I was saying to myself that I like the conversations these days. We went from lamentations of how hard things are, how the city is doing badly because of Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19, and now we are fighting to take credit. Everyone wants to take credit for how well the city is doing. That's the arguments that are pouring in. Our streets are being cleaned up, and traders and hawkers themselves, pedestrians are saying, some of them are saying they like it, I like that the conversations have a more positive outlook than some months back, So yeah, I like the debates coming in. And so let's get into the newspapers. I have the Daily Graphic newspaper. And on the front page, nation risks more revenue losses. Tech-led tax systems key. Experts at National Dialogue. That was the UPSA National Dialogue on tackling tax revenue leakages in Ghana. We also have break short-term development planning cycle. The president charges National Development Planning Committee. And that is the newly reconstituted one. Ghana card blocks prison graduates from national service. Local government minister cautions public against Boko conflict commentaries. The paper is very thick this morning, so I'll blaze through some of the major stories in here. I want to start from the president's call on the National Development Planning Committee to break the short-term planning cycle. He says, quote, your task is to craft a plan that finally liberates Ghana from the limitations of our past and illuminates a bold path for future generations. That is President Mahama when he inaugurated the 43-member 8th governing board of the NPC at the Jubilee House in Accra yesterday. So that's my first story. The second one is Ghana card blocks prison graduates from national service. And all the 63 inmates of the Nsawam medium security prison who graduated from the University of Cape Coast will not be able to undertake their mandatory one-year national service because they don't have the Ghana cards, which is a prerequisite to national identification needed to undertake the service. And so they're appealing to authorities, to the committee, to the Parliamentary Committee on Human Rights to help them, to intervene in a way to help them undertake their national service because they've gone through all that work to graduate and all that. Then my third story, Shraj CRI, that is Charles Wright International, object to Ghana Immigration Services evacuation of migrant beggars. And they're saying in a swift action, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice and non-governmental organization Child Rights International have questioned the approach, which it believed risks violating both local and international laws. I mean, I think they're saying that since the nation's human rights obligations extended to undocumented migrants, our approach gives us a bad look. And I think I'll end on this story here. Sam George says, prioritize women for jobs. Quote, to the agencies under the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, let me be candid. When you are presented with equally qualified candidates, choose the woman who shows promise. And this is a policy direction, he says. And I'll end it here, and let's get your reflections. Let me start from Zoom, and I'll come back to Mr. Morning. Dr. Kwame Asante.
Yes.
Let me get your thoughts on these stories.
I'll start with women for jobs.
Yes.
It's a good call. Women have suffered over the years based on discrimination and all manner of practices that put them at the periphery of jobs and every important endeavor. So we should make it a point to enforce all the rules and make sure that women are brought to the limelight. We are not saying that just pick any woman, but women who are qualified. Please open doors for them so that they become part and parcel of the civilized society. It is important. Once we develop them, the benefit will be ours. And we should know that. We've seen women who are doing great things in this country, and they are representing the country as proper or pure ambassadors of this country outside. And when we come home, we want to shortchange them. I don't think it's right. We need to support them. But of course, we need the qualified ones and support those who are the fringes of our society to also come in. Shraj and Charles Wright's issues. Yeah. Children are very important. And if you read our constitution, the interest of the child is always paramount, right? And when I was a student at GIJ, I was the president for International Journalists for Children's Rights. So when you look at children, I am always close to them because they make the society. I am on the side of Shraj and Charles Wright, that yes, when we have rules that govern how we should handle such situation, we should be very careful so as to not to incur any bad name within the Committee of States, because these are some of the things that go against our human rights record, and also it goes against our international standards. Much as we want to maintain some sanity, we must also tread cautiously that we respect the rules of the game. It is the way to go. And then I also look at the prison graduates, and they are not giving opportunity to render national service. I asked the question that why would we want to make sure that they go through education, and after education, what? We have some of them at UG who are mainly distance education students. There are some in my class and all that. Once they be able to go through that process successfully, I am sure there must be a process that will shepherd them into the field of national service. So this issue of national ID card should not be a problem when institutions are speaking to institutions. Prison service as an institution speaking to what? NIA. This thing should be what? A thing of the past. And I believe that they should look at it and address it so that the where they find themselves will not be seen as what? We want to what? Suppress them. Prisons are supposed to what? Revive people, improve their well-being, and then also when they finish their service, they are well integrated into the society to continue from where they left off.
There's one more. Break the short-term development planning cycle. The president's charging the newly reconstituted NPC board. Any comments on that? Yeah.
The development planning committee, that committee is an important one. They have done a lot of work, but we have seen very little finding expression in public life. Take, for instance, the issue of what? The development plan of this country. I recall Professor Mill's time, that team went around the country, did about, I think, 25 or 35-year development plan. What have we gained out of that? We want to see, for instance, political parties drawing their manifestos from that, so that whatever they have in mind would not be at variance with what the state also has in mind, so that we can work in tandem and then produce the results that we want. After all, the essence of research is to make society better. So if there is a whole lot of research sitting down there on the shelves of what? The development plan office, why are we not making use of it? We want to see the first step, political parties taking that document and making sure that whatever they have in terms of what their vision for the country dovetails into that omnibus plan, so that at the end of the day, we'll have value for money.
What's interesting on that story is that in the president's call, he also asked that they consolidate various existing development frameworks, including Ghana Beyond Aid, the Ghana at 100 initiative, and the Vision 2057 into a single actionable plan. I like that we are not completely doing away with something that wasn't under his administration or started with his government. You know, I think that
is how
really
governance ought to be.
Yeah.
It's a continuum, and that you have to continue from where one has left office. And if you read the Constitution, it's ingrained in there, telling us that whatever project, whatever policy that we put in place, we expect that the new government will take off and then also incorporate it, so that at the end of the day, we will ensure value for money and society will be the beneficiary of that exercise.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante. Mr. Moni,
let me reinforce what my colleague journalist said. You know, he started as a journalist, and once a journalist, always a journalist. On the issue of development, Schumacher once said that development is not measured by broad streets or skyscrapers, but by, you know, measures which to address the needs, concrete needs, tangible needs of the people. And Dennis Goulet also said there are three goals of development. Bread, in our context, kenke, cassava, fufu, wache, and all that. Look at the vast lands with which we've been blessed, and yet we depend on other countries, Burkina Faso, for tomatoes. It's an indictment on our sense of responsibility and seriousness as a nation. So if we are not able to fix this basic need of bread, food, then we are joking with our development efforts. Dignity. Dignity comes with the Latin word dicus, which means dicus, ornament. So the most important aspect of any person is your dignity. Your most important asset is your dignity. Look at the level of indignity to which Ghanaians have been subjected to as a result of lack of food, lack of places of sleeping, accommodation, and all that. Look at the cost of rent in this country. Much is against the salaries of the average worker. A total mismatch. So unless and until we are able to fix this basic need, then again we are joking with our development efforts. And then freedom. Even though we are liberated, but many Ghanaians are in chains. So there's a need to address the three basic needs: food or bread, dignity, and freedom.
Thank you so much for that. I think you'll stick with me for the rest of the day. The other stories that we spoke about,
well,
the Ghana
let's
card
bring
blocking.
in, I don't know whether
He's
you...
not done with his
we have the punch.
No, also that's the only story we want to talk about.
Okay,
we talk about the Ghana card blocking prison graduates from doing the national service. we spoke about some judge asking that they should choose women when they are presented with the opportunity to employ either man or woman, and the woman is qualified or shows promise, you should pick the woman.
Let me start with women, because I have a soft spot for women. Because I was named after my grandmother, Araba Afilba.
Oh, so
yeah.
That's where the Afil comes from.
Yeah, yes, and Afilba. And development, again, without women play a central role, is incomplete.
I like that you're tying it to development.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is ingrained in theory and rooted in practice that what women can do, what men can do better. Just on my left is a lady who bears a sweet name and who is dazzling her audience with a professional dexterity. Yeah. So what men can do, women can do better.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the day a woman will assume the presidency. A woman will occupy the most consequential office in this land. And it will compare with what the men have done. Many of the men who have led us have led us astray. They have led us into the ditch. So there's a need to be truthful to affirmative action, to expose as many women as possible. Look at our homes, the indispensable roles women play in our homes. Without them, our homes will not be homes. Our homes will be something else.
Just be houses.
Just be houses, brick and mortar.
Yeah.
So there's a need to push. This is a time for us to step up effort to ensure that women occupy strategic positions so that they use their God-given talent, which will accelerate our development in all dimensions. And prison graduates, nothing on earth should shackle prisoners, most of whom find themselves behind bars, not because of what they have done. The story of Biblical Joseph is an example. Joseph did nothing. A lady gave him a scholarship, which he refused. He ended up in prison. From prison, became a prime minister in Egypt. So many people are in prison not because they committed any offense, but because the system is so unfair that they be confined to where they are. So nothing at all, and it bears repeating, nothing at all should shackle people in prison from attaining the highest height in life.
Thank you, Afilmoni, for those thoughts. And I don't know if our next guest listened to the stories that we're discussing now, but when I think you wanted to bring him in.
Yeah. Mr. Moni, I'm sure when I get to the daily gist and the story about the VIP returning in 3 days' time, that would give you some...
Certainly, yes.
Definitely on the women's bit. But let's bring in Pakwesi Eduafo Abedu. He's a development analyst. Pakwesi, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. Good morning, sweetie. I hope you guys are doing well. And good morning to my colleagues. Dr. Santi.
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Money, good morning.
Good morning.
It's the my lord for me. Okay, so Mr. Abedu, quick thoughts. You've not had your bite yet. I'll give you a minute, and then maybe you could reflect on some of the stories we've already done, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, very well. So I think that I wanted to give a quick reflection on the unemployment rate that we have in the country. That's my initial reflection. I think that it was staggering to hear the statistics with regards to the rate of unemployment in the country, 19%, and talking about underemployment, where we are looking at about 25%. That sums up to about 33%. And that means that about 1/3 of our active labor force are struggling to earn a decent living. They are struggling in terms of the kind of work they are doing, and even the satisfaction that they get with those that they have even had in terms of work. And so this, for me, it's more than unemployment. It's more of security and so many other social problems that we have in the country. And so I'm sure the government, the policymakers are listening to us. They are watching us this morning. I believe the private sector is also watching. I mean, all the active players are watching us this morning. We need to up our game and ensure that we absorb the teeming youth of unemployment unemployed young people in this country, absorb them so that we'll be able to have a better future for our people. If not, I think we are living on time bomb. So that's really my reflection, and I wish we take this issue as serious as possible.
Fair point you make there. Did you take into consideration some of the stories we've already looked at, the consolidation of national development? The president has been charging the NDPC that it's not just going to be what this administration has planned, but previous ones need to be consolidated so we have a national plan. There's been talk about women's role in development, the crucial role they play, and then there was also a reflection on sanitation and where we are. Is there anything you'd like to reflect on before we move to other papers?
Yes, very well. Let me start with the development planning aspect. You see, the one of the problems that we've had, and I heard Mr. Moni talking about it, I think Doug also did the same. It's about how isolated our development plans have been. The level of coordination, the level of integration in terms of our policy planning has been very poor. And so you find every institution trying to do its own thing without any coordinated framework. Yes, we have so many strategies in the past. We've had so many strategies in the past. I can recall the Ghana Poverty Reduction Strategy, both the paper 1 and 2, the Vision 2020 and all that. We have our own development plan looking at 2020, 63, and all the other development plans that we have. But you see, the plans are there, but each institution or all the institutions and the various sectors are doing their own thing. And so when it comes to the coordination, it becomes a big of a problem. And so once we are achieving some success in one area, the ripple effect or the other side will be that some other institutions, some other sectors will be suffering. We don't have a coordinated policy framework. And it's not just about the policies, even in terms of institutional collaboration, in terms of the actors involved, in terms of the vision that we all want to achieve, the coordination is not there. And so we don't do much when it comes to our development. And so whatever planning, whatever interventions, whatever systems we have, it's a reflection of what we have or what we are experiencing as a country. It's a reflection of how poor our sanitation conditions are. It's a reflection of how poor the interventions, the mechanisms we are developing to address unemployment. And almost every facet of our problem that we find in this country, you can attribute it one way or the other to poor policy and policy coordination. And so we're happy the president is talking about this with the National Development Planning Commission now. There's a need for us to bring our development planning under one umbrella and ensure that all efforts are synchronized within that space.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Afil Moni, let's look at your papers.
The Punch take precautionary measures to prevent floods, open the door to dignity. It is backward to keep public washrooms under lock and key. Echuma Bieja South MC disappointed the prevailing condition at his office. But Richum, who is a presidential aspirant of MPP, says he has not endorsed any flag bearer hopeful. And Caesar Ofusai Champon receives unanimous endorsement as Ofinsu North DC. That's the Punch and the publisher. CIR blasts GIS, that's Child Rights International, blasts Ghana Immigration Service over ruthless beggars soup. Are forcing charges Gold Board to anchor economic transformation. It comes with a picture of members of the board, Gold Board Advisory Board, and sandwiched in the middle is my own sister, who is the Queen Mother of Makasim Charisha area, Nana Maimisa, looking glacially beautiful as usual. Ayariga condemns gruesome murder of NHIA director in the north. We pray that this will not, this will not reignite the problem over there. Dinner with petitioners, lawyers, citizen demands dissolution of CJ community about Sorry Rubbish's claim. I think I agree with Sorry. Having a dinner does not point to the fact that they're going to skew anything in favor of anybody. So I think it's a baseless call for the committee to be dissolved. So these are the stories in the Punch.
Right.
And
so before you get to
publish
the main stories, whichever ones you pick, let's quickly go on the ground. Yesterday we brought you day one of that decongestion exercise in the Central Business District of Accra. We're there again this morning. James Aveji is on the ground. James, if you can hear me, what's happening this morning?
Well, Ben, we are here to find out how the city is complying to the exercise that has started yesterday. From yesterday, we were told that the AMA team is supposed to continue the exercise today and the next 4 days. The briefing is that this is going to be a 5-day exercise. Just to recap what has happened from yesterday, the Accra mayor himself, as well as the MC for Koliklote Municipal Assembly, led the AMA task force yesterday to undertake what they call the decongestion exercise, which is targeted at getting traders off the main street in order to create free-flowing traffic for both vehicles as well as pedestrians. And so that is the exercise that happened through the principal street of the Central Business District, as well as circle all the way to Kaneshie in the course of yesterday. Now, this morning, when we arrived in Accra at about 6:02 a.m., what I have noticed at the Tudu area is that the road is still clear. Traders have set up their businesses on the pavement of the road, which we have been told by the operations manager of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly that they are allowed to set up on the pavement. And so both vehicular and human traffic was flowing at the Tudu area. The change we've noticed there was the fact that when you notice you are coming from the Accra Technical University area towards Tudu, the pavement all the way in front of the Ghana Publishing House as well as the Kimbo Senior High School has now been occupied by the traders, which the Director of Operations have told us that they have allowed them to take the pavement. The only strict instruction is that they do not bring their wares onto the main street, and they need to also create some walkway on the pavement as well for pedestrians. And so that's what we've seen. Right here where I'm standing is I'm told the Kantamanto traffic light, and the road you see behind me is the circle at the Braka Kingsway all the way to the Kantamanto area. You see behind me traffic still freely flowing this morning for both vehicle and humans. You see people walking on the shoulders of the road. Some traders here in the median here trying to ply their trade here. And if you watch this side to my right, that is the road leading to Accra Brewery. And you see traders also set up in the median of the road. If the new information we are getting this morning is anything to stand by, then we would assume that there is no offense there where the women have set up in the median there, on the pavement in the median there to trade. And so this is the situation. If the camera pans all the way down to the UTC area, traffic is also flowing. There's a van standing in the middle there. I'm sure the police is having some interaction with the driver. The policeman there directing traffic towards the Tudu area. I'll take you to the Tudu street proper to see what is happening. But this is the situation here. You see cars moving at the Kantamanto traffic light. Yeah, wanted to know how is the journey this morning? I hope the traffic is okay.
Yeah. Traffic is about the boy because first now but now traffic good to me now for about 30 minutes. Now want me but you see the police for my yard pa.
Is it in any way affecting your business?
Oh, there be. And if it's here, because first, now do what we see now. My phone I share if you are Equano, Tessana. Okay, so move a Jana Macho Quano, I'm moving on side the sea crano, Castle Beccatrono. I know crowd one about two Sacrabono. But you see, I acquired them this year, my idea.
I see. And so, Ben, that's a driver there who tells me that traffic is flowing well, and he appreciates the work that has been done so far to create space for them to move freely. Telling me initially the women would have set up on the road, and any attempt by the drivers to get them off would be proven futile. Uncle, good morning.
Morning.
How is it going today?
How
is the traffic? And so the driver here will not speak to us, trying to get more of them to get their position on what is happening. Boss, good morning.
Morning.
How is it going?
Oh, cool.
How is the traffic flowing?
Oh, it's good. Everything is fine. So one thing is worrying me is my mommy and my sisters, because some people take loan from banks. How are you going to pay that loan?
I see. But for the traffic on the road for your work, this area, do you use this area?
That one there is good. That one there is good. It's good. That one there is good. So I want to tell
I see a police in the car. Are you under arrest?
my license is spy. Yeah, he told me, he said I should go to office. So I'm going to office.
I see.
Yeah, that's why.
That's a driver there. He's in a bit of trouble. He's driving with an expired license, and the police is taking him to the police station for the law to take its course. And so that's the situation here, Ben. Trying to take you to the to-do stretch properly so that we can know what exactly is happening there on the to-do stretch. The road on the to-do stretch is also clear this morning. Drivers are plying the route freely without any interference from the traders. You see this cars here waiting to cross the road. And so this is a to-do stretch, and you see cars moving towards the to-do area and others coming from the to-do area to the traffic lights here. And it is free-flowing traffic this morning here at the Kantamanto intersection here in Accra, Ben.
Well, James, we're grateful that you've brought us the scoop there. Of course, from time to time, we'll come back to you to get the latest developments. You spoke about that police vehicle, and I'm sure the AMA officials will be on the ground. They'll have their boots on the ground this morning. As and when they do, we'll reconnect to you. But that's my colleague, James Aveji, right there from the Central Business District of Accra. It's day 2 of that decongestion exercise. Let's come back into the studio now. And I feel morning, any reactions, quick reactions in respect of what has been happening before we get to your paper?
I think the major takeaway from the very good piece of reportage, the news that traffic is flowing. This is a clear departure from yesteryears when the whole place was choked, and it took drivers to warn that they were going to DORA services for officialdom acted swiftly. And many people are asking, and this is a fundamental question, how sustainable are these measures to ensure that traffic flows in the center of town, the heartbeat of business in Gandra's Mokala area. And we all know that political will in the past has been so conspicuous by its absence. Getting to election time, people are allowed to do all kinds of things because of votes. And as Dr. Asante said, you touch one person, you lose one vote. And politicians will prioritize vote over what is needful to ensure that the safety of pedestrians is guaranteed and business also allowed to take its natural course. So we are praying that sustainability will win at the end of the day. Otherwise, it will amount to nothing. All this effort will amount to nothing. And the media, in the name of comprehensive journalism, we are told that the exercise will last 5 days. After 5 days, we should go back there and look at how the place looks.
Right.
Who is refusing or who is negligent in doing his or her duty. We should expose all these characters to ensure that officialdom also deals with them.
All right. Doc and Mr. Abedu, when Afil gets into his stories, you can share with us any brief take you have on this before you get to those reactions. But let's get into your stories.
I think, again, Dr. Asante has touched on that, the floods and what we do every year to ensure that we contain the flood waters and save lives. Okay. It's sad to note that as many as 3 people, even one life is one too many. As many as 3 people.
4 yesterday. 4 was reported yesterday. 4.
Okay, 4 lost their lives under tragic circumstances in my Adenta area, and never again should we be subjected to this kind of mourning.
There was a gentleman who nearly passed. I was talking about that video yesterday, you know, with the sweeping waters, and you know when it rains and sometimes there are dents or holes in the road and you're unaware. In fact, I was sharing yesterday that it nearly happened to me many years ago because I was using the stretch. The water was very high, but I was trying to, and someone had to caution me because there was a little, you know, one of those openings there. You see, sometimes there are slabs on one of those openings. And if you fall in there with the water rushing, I mean, you're gone. This gentleman nearly lost his life. Nearly.
So all this reinforces the need to intensify efforts to scale up flood risk management systems, construct more drainage systems, improve upon our drainage systems.
Right.
And there's also the need to sound warnings and in a timeless manner to residents so that they will take precautions. We've come a long way from those years when the then meteorological agency will wait for the rain to be pitter-pattering on people's roofs. But they will rush to GBC with weather forecasts. Now we can leverage technology, AI, and data analytics to warn people in advance about potential rainfalls and how damaging they will be, so that residents will take precaution. So the authorities, once again, kudos. We hear they fixed the perennial flooding on Kaswa Road, and this is a big plus for them, but other areas are begging for a quick intervention and lasting solution to their flooding issues.
All right. Is there anything else you want to do from there before we go to...
Child Rights International, my son, Brighter Pierre, has sounded his concern about the manner in which the foreign nationals were...
The Ghana Immigration Service, and especially Nigerians.
Nigerians, yeah. I think there's a need to square the need to decongest certain areas. We need to also look at the dignity of their children. But the streets, especially certain, like a 37 area, right in front of Jubilee House. See these foreign nationals littering all over.
In front of the 37 hospital, in front of the Trotro station, in front of Max Mart, all the way.
Total assault. There was no way we were going to allow this to continue perpetually. So it's a step in the right direction, but there's a need to strike a delicate balance between protecting, safety protocols of the children, at the same time ensuring that our streets are...
I want us to try and save time. So if I see the story there, dinner with petitioner's lawyer on that,
dinner
we can do that so that then we get the reactions and come to the last batch of papers.
A Ghanaian citizen, Alfred Abebiokumi, has formally petitioned the President of the Republic to dissolve the 5-member committee constituted to investigate 3 petitions against the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Arabai Saba Saki Tokono. According to the petition, approximately at 4 13 p.m. on the same day of that May 19, Mr. Kumi raised serious concerns about the impartiality of the committee following a private dinner meeting involving members of the committee and a legal representative of one of the petitioners. In the petition, Mr. Kumi alleged that on that evening, shortly after the committee held its first meeting, Justice Gabriel Scott Pwamwang, who serves as the chairman of the committee, Samuel Kwame Adibu Estiedu, a member of the committee, and Yoni Kulendi, a fellow Supreme Court judge, were seen dining with Thaddeus Sorry, counsel for one of the petitioners, at the Santoku restaurant located at the Villaggio in the airport residential area. According to the petitioner, the strange meeting of the four persons who are keenly interested in and have played and indeed continue to play critical roles initiated in the processes of the removal of the Chief Justice excited curiosity of some persons in the restaurant. Indeed, they were overheard discussing matters relating to the petition.
Okay, so that's what's there. And there's a quick response, which I think that paper captures as well.
Yeah.
But it's also made its way online. And Thaddeus Sorry has responded, and the paper captures him as well. And he says it is a monstrous lie. No such meeting took place. It is very easy to fact check that. We know those who get justice through negotiation. That is it. So, of course, if there is any truth to that matter, I'm sure there will be some follow-ups.
But if even it did take place, I don't think it's a strong case to pursue.
Right. Dr. Hassan Asante, we have to, minimize the comments, but what are your thoughts on these matters? Briefly.
Yeah, I think I have also read Thaddeus' response, and that's it. But it brings to sharp focus Apollo 568.
Hey, Doc.
The matters are.
Yes. Where you are taking us?
I wish to say to Sweetie.
Yes.
Well.
We'll see how, all this thing pan out. Right. I want to look at the, the washrooms and then the keys that are kept out of public use. Right. It is important to look at this in context. Sometimes people keep such, rooms unkempt, and people decide that, look, one way to ensure is to put it under lock and key. But when you need it, it must be presented to you. I think that should be the way out. But I want to stretch the conversation a little further to look at even public places of convenience in this country. I tell you, it's a sorry story. You walk through public places and you are in difficulty. You need to attend to nature's call. I tell you, you have no place to tend to. I experienced once when I was driving from Legon to my home at Oyarefa. Had it not been the case that I know the road so well that I was able to, dodge all the traffic, and then I was also driving my own car, what would have been the situation? And I look at it from the perspective of the poor man, the ordinary man in the street who want to travel from, say, Accra to, say, Adenta, and there's a problem. Where will he or she tend to? And that brings to sharp focus. You recall at a point in time, Dr. Maumia was saying that I'll build public toilets and all that, and people ridiculed that. That was a good public policy, right? That go to advanced countries at the bus stop, at very important public places, there are places for convenience, that when you are hot, you can rush in there and then save yourself. Is that the situation here?
Right.
And last time I saw something on TV where bus from Kumasi was traveling to Accra, and then there was a story like that. And mostly when people are caught in between towns and they are virtually in the bush, they are driving, and then all that they need is jump to the bush. Is that the way to go? Please, let us think about that. Issue of two forcing and the good board.
Doc, I would encourage that you be a bit more brief with the rest of your comments. Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. I am happy with the results we are getting from Gold Board. That within a short space of time, we've raking 2.7 billion. A little will take us out of what? IMF. I believe that's the way to go. We must ensure that whatever we get it, we put it into developing this country. There are a lot of people without jobs, a lot of people without basic needs of life. There are a lot of people without all the important things that we need. And I think that the state will put money that they derive from that to proper use. Issue of flood and its effect, we have talked about it. And then all that we want to see is that we must make sure that this time around, we want to put in certain measures that will address the problem head on.
All right. Paul Abedu, quick thoughts?
Yes, Bernard, so first thing I want to talk about is that...
Benjamin, but if you can do it in a minute, I'd be grateful.
Very well. So with the issue of the gold board and the way we are politicizing it as in terms of, who conceived the idea and all that, I think we need to put a stop to that. Government is a process. Clearly, maybe one government brought out the concept, the idea through the good for oil policy, or the other, the reserve policy, and then current government is looking at regulating it to making sure that all the illegalities regards to the gold trade is blocked. And so we need to just, we don't have to play politics about this. All we need to understand is that the gold board is there to help us and to also ensure that our forex and then our currency is stable and all the benefit that we get from it. The second point I want to talk about is the decongestion exercise. Look, our concern has really been about sustainability, and I think that is what everybody is talking about. We need to understand this, that the areas that we are referring to, the Accra and the Accra Central and the Kantamati, all the areas, these are serious hubs for government businesses. And so we cannot behave like ostriches. These areas are hosting so many government institutions. At the same time, they are a commercial center. There's an incentive for people to move to that area, to do their business, and for people to get crowded over there.
Right.
And so if you want to make it sustainable, we need to ensure that that incentive, that reason which motivates people to go there is moved. And that is why I'm happy about the president talking about having a second city where probably we can talk about our commercialization, our commercial business or commercial operations in there, so that whilst Accra, for example, will serve as administrative capital, we have other areas which will also look at our trade and the commercial hub for the country. The flood and its related issues. For me, I agree with my colleagues. It's all about planning. It's all about the laws. We need to plan well and we need to make sure that the law works. If somebody is not permitted to build at a place that is supposed to build, we don't have to allow that. And so we need to let the laws work, and we also need to plan our infrastructure and all the other things that is needed to ensure that floods are prevented.
Thank you, Mr. Abedu. I'll just leave you with my headlines, and Sweetie, I believe, has one more paper. The Ghanaian Times, getting rid of street beggars, uphold children's rights, dignity, CRI, that's Child Rights International. Ghana committed to reformed business environment, according to President Mahama. Venture Capital Trust Fund invest $359.6 million in 20 years. On the back page, GHS, that's the Ghana Health Service, partners with media and Gambaga to prevent cholera outbreak. And stakeholders discuss sustainable aviation fuels. In the Daily Gist newspaper, Veep returning in 3 days' time after 2 months treatment abroad. I feel money. I told you that was coming. Yeah. We are not perfect, former Vice President Baumia says so. Goldbot tasked to chart new path in gold trading. And then CJ Probe Committee rejects live coverage. So basically, the 5-member tribunal investigating suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Arabai Sabasaki Tokonu has rejected her call for the proceedings to be broadcast live or open to the public. You know, the Constitution says it must be held in camera. Those are the quick thoughts. Sweetie?
Well, the last paper here is the Accra Times. On the front page, the governing board of Gold Board inaugurated. Help Mahama to reset Ghana's economy, according to Ato Forson. Nation mourns former Council of State member as Paul Afoko pays glowing tribute to late dad. Describes him as a man of many titles. And Minority tasks Minister to tackle fuel supply to IPPs urgently. And good news for fuel tanker drivers. NPA boss promises conditions of service. And still on the Paul Afoko story, a remarkable granddad that is coming from the grandchildren. And that will be it from me. Yeah, that's it for the Accra Times.
Right. Before we take your final thoughts, Reverend Lati sent in this. He says, "Good morning, buddy. I feel you are making the point about women together with Sweetie. The Hebrew word for a woman is Adama. The ground or the earth is called Adama. So Adam was made from Adama. It is so true that every human being came through a woman. Any nation that values Adama, that is woman, will prosper." That's his
good news.
take.
Yeah.
Also, a very happy birthday. This is coming through from Samuel Kojo Brace. He says, "So Mrs. Emma K. Baby Somia Kwao, co-head of sales, Databank Financial Services. You are 40 today. We pray that the good Lord continue to shower his blessings upon your life. We're proud of you and we thank God for your life." It's from your husband, Emmanuel Somia Kwao Jr., and your lovely kids, Vania, Emma Lily, Emmanuel, and Vanessa Josephine. So Emma K. Baby Somia Kwao, happy 40th birthday to you. If we have any parting shots, this would be the time, 30 seconds each, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Doc.
Yes, I am happy the Vice President is okay, coming back. Hooray! I'm very happy because I've always been looking forward to a woman occupying such a high position. Oh, God has blessed us with one. Let us help her to succeed, and then that will encourage other women to take higher positions, as my brother Afemoni said, that we want a woman to even occupy the seat of what the president, as the president of this republic.
All right.
All of us should support. All of us will die one day. But when we are sick, please don't send us to our graves early good time. The good Lord will send us there when the need arises or when it is time.
Doc, let me just sneak in this for the sake of time. You know, UTAG is taking on the AG on the back of, it's a conversation we're having today. Those claims that some money was drawn that was not meant for paying staff and all of that. UTAG has a statement on that. What's your stance on it? If you can just briefly give me something.
Yeah, are you talking about the Auditor General?
Yes.
Yes, it is. The university has come out clearly that is inaccurate, so that the auditor did not incorporate into the report what it needs to do, because there is an IGF bit and then the other side. So that is clear, and I stand with the university that the records must be straightforward, and then it takes the university out of that bad press.
Right.
Or that.
Right.
If there is a genuine mistake on the part of the Auditor General, he should quickly do the needful so that we continue to save our alma mater.
All right.
Make it the best of our schools.
Thank you.
I move
so
on
much.
to the CJ probe.
Okay.
The live coverage. Just 1 second on it.
Right.
The live coverage where people were talking about. I was surprised to hear from even lawyers who were saying that, oh, can we go public and all that? I'm not a lawyer. They have superior knowledge. But the little knowledge I have is that the lawyers will tell you what is the law and what ought to be. Currently, what we see in the Constitution, is it not that it should be done in camera? And then is there anything wrong with what in-camera hearing? I don't get it. So I'm happy the court has finally come out. The committee has finally come out that, and I'm not sure that people want to say that if these things happen in camera, the woman is not going to justice. Is not going to get justice. Let us remember that we are not talking about ordinary woman.
Right.
First a lawyer, second a Supreme Court judge, and then the Chief Justice. He has superior knowledge of the law that nobody can interpret.
Thank you. Shall we do Pakwesi Abedu?
Yeah, so Gold Board. You see, every development that is sustainable looks at both economic progress and environmental protection, of course, the social side of things. We don't have to be carried away with the gains we are getting from the Gold Board in terms of the gold proceeds and how it's affecting our currency and all that. We are equally mindful about the other side of it, and that is the environmental protection component of the gold mining. And so I want to implore that the Gold Board shouldn't be carried away with all the gains and accolades that we are giving them, but they should equally be mindful of where the gold is coming from and what environmental footprint, impact are being left out there. Galamsey now, recently we are not talking about Galamsey so much, but the problem is still persisting and is still threatening our lives.
Right.
And so they should be mindful as a board and see how we can balance the two for a sustainable development.
All right.
I'm happy for the return of the VIP on the basis of, for the president. I'm particularly happy that the VIP is coming back because I think that the president would have had a very negative PR when it comes to, some issues surrounding him. You remember at a point when he was the vice president, his president died, and then later on his vice president also died, and recently the VIP was not feeling well. It wouldn't have been good for the president. So I'm particularly happy the VP is back just for the sake of the president. At least it saves him some peace of mind. That's the letter I want to share this morning. That's
interesting reading into that matter. I feel money. Final word.
Election 2028 is gaining traction in the media. And it's clear, as night follows day, that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia will pursue another tilt at the presidency. And we are told that an NDC communicator has endorsed Deborah for election 2028. We are also told that Asidun Ketia is also lacing his boots. So let's see what happens in 2020. Let me see the opportunity to wish a professional gem, Larry Pakwesi Moses, all the best. He's been recuperating. He went through some medical challenges. He's now okay. May the Lord be with him and his newly wedded wife. God bless him wherever he is.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us for the News Review segment. We had Afel Moni, former president of GJA, in studio here with us. Via Zoom, Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist and head, Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We also had Pakwesi Eduafola-Beidu, development analyst. And don't forget, the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. When we return from the break, we get into our big stories. Please stay.